Coach Lees, talk a little bit about last weekend. The not the results you wanted, but the offense got going, and you got some good pitching. So talk a little bit about that last weekend against Utah Valley.
Well, I thought the first night that we came out, I thought Ian pitched probably his best game of the year. He really commanded his fastball, his off speed, was able to throw 3 pitches for strikes and not for strikes when he wanted to. Would have liked a little better effort at the plate and a little bit better defensively too. And so it did not turn out the way we wanted. On Friday, was very pleased with how everything went. I felt like it's one of our better games as far as connecting everything that we do on the mound defensively. Offensively, we started to get that going a little bit with a little more aggressiveness in the zone, able to put our guys in positions where they could steal a bag, use our bunt game, run bases, and do the things that are very fundamental to winning baseball games. And, on Saturday, I thought Parker McFadden did a great job. I think, ideally we'd like to get one more inning out of him, and we're not able to do it. We've kind of compounded some maybe a walk or an error, and it's kind of been our nemesis, to give up 3 and 4 runs in an inning instead of maybe finding a way to stop the bleeding. But we competed. We had a chance to win towards the end, and again, I think our offense was good. We put guys in positions to score. We had a lot of hits. We had some stolen bases again, and we need to continue to make plays and do the things that we can to be successful. And then, unfortunately, in that Saturday game, we had a couple injuries that are maybe big. Are big for our team. We lose a 4-hole hitter with a dislocated shoulder. And I think that's kind of what the diagnosis is right now. He's working on it, getting it better, but I don't know if we'll have Patrick McGrath for the weekend. We're still day to day, but wouldn't do anything to hurt his chances of playing. Against UCLA or any of those things. So Dugan Shire was out on Sunday with kind of a bum hamstring. I think he's feeling a lot better now. And Trek Stamp came back. He had a little bit of the touch of the flu on Sunday, so he was available. He got a pinch hit later on, but we started out the game, gave up 6 runs early, but I felt like our offense came back and did a good job of competing. And we got close again and in a position where we could strike and have a chance to win. And had a couple unfortunate things that happened defensively that helped them get in a position where they could win. But overall, I saw some strides for the whole team throughout the weekend. We need to get in a position where we can be consistent in all parts of the game, pitching-wise, defensive-wise, and hitting-wise. We're on the Saturday game, we walked 11 hitters, and that didn't help, obviously what we're trying to do. So those things are being worked on every day. The time and the effort and the attitude that's within our kids is outstanding, and they take it to a game. We just need to execute when we get the chance.
Offensively, we knew what we had in Trek and Chapman and McGrath and Frost. Those guys have gotten swings.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about maybe the surprises, the Mason Cirillo you got to see for the first time over the last couple of weeks, Dugan Shire, multiple hits all weekend. And then I think Cirillo hit 400 for the series. Talk a little about the surprises, maybe the young guys their last weekend.
Well, Mason may be surprised to, people haven't seen any games yet, but he's not a surprise to us because we've seen him throughout the whole fall and the winter. He's a good hitter. He works at it. He's got probably the cleanest swing that we have on our team. Our kids know it. He plays with a unbelievable passion. He's been playing outfield right now. He's in a we've got outfielders that are a little bit faster than he is, but he's a good outfielder. He's a good base runner, and in fact, I'm going to start working him out a little bit at first base. It might be one of the shorter first basemen in the country, but his personality is catching to others, and he finds a way. We've and a lot of times that when he's been in the game, we've hit him in the 3-hole. I feel like we can trust him. He's able to face high-level pitching, face breaking balls and off speed, in a three-hole's tough, especially for a freshman. But he's been doing good, and we need to find a way to get him on the field other than just a pinch hitter or a DH, because he's a good player.
Now you shift gears to Northeastern out of Massachusetts that's coming in for a 4-game set. Northeastern opened the season by taking 2 of 4 at Oklahoma. So, these guys are coming ready to play. What do you know about Northeastern?
Well, you're right. They have been playing pretty good. They played good teams this whole year. The pitching that they beat at Oklahoma is high-level pitching. It's top tier round pitching. So when you know that they've faced other foes like that, it's good for us because one, we get to be at home for another weekend to maybe try and find ourselves a little bit more. The fans here, for the first 2 days and throughout the weekend were absolutely tremendous, and it gave good energy to our kids, and we wanted to take advantage of our homestand, being in our home yard and seeing the fans that are here. So should be a good series. Anxious to get going again, and every time we get a chance to play, we get a chance to get better. Every time we get a chance for young kids to get ABs or get on the mound, we get a chance to get better, and I know we will. They're working very hard, and we're making adjustments every day to be as competitive as possible.
Any questions on the line for Coach Lees?
Yeah, hey Coach, it's Tom Hager. How's it going?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Good. You mentioned early in the press conference that the effort has been outstanding, and I'm just curious, as a coach, does that make it a little bit easier to kind of handle this adversity when you feel like the kids are kind of giving it everything they can?
Well, I don't know that makes it easier, but it's if there was no effort and the attitude wasn't to where we wanted it, I would have some real concerns. But because I believe that there is a consistent effort and a pride and consistent behavior in our practices and things, I feel like there's real hope because they are invested, they are working hard, and if we get a couple things to go in the right direction and get some consistency, I know that we can be a great team.
What do you feel maybe right now has been the main thing that has prevented this team from reaching its potential so far, and how fixable of a problem is that?
Well, it's all fixable. We've, there's been times when we've walked a few too many. There's been times when we've had some errors. There's been some times when, we could take advantage of scoring an extra run, from third base. And those things are being dealt with. We've played a lot of different lineups. One, I want to see and give kids a chance to show us what they can do for us and what they can do for their team, and put them in a position that their skill set is exactly what we want. We've got Ryan Walker is without a doubt one of our top 4 pitchers. We've toyed with the idea of, throughout the whole time when we started this, of him as a starter, but we really like the direction of what, our starting pitching is doing, and having an opportunity to have a kid like Ryan Walker in the pen where you can pitch him multiple days. We've always felt like in every team that we've been a part of that you build your mound from the back forward, and we're getting good starts. The last couple weekends we've been getting good starts from pitchers, but we need to make plays, and then if somebody doesn't make a play, we need to be able to respond back and basically stop the bleeding. And you can give up 1, but when you start giving up 2, 3, and 4 runs after some type of adversity, those are the things that we attack every day with a different mindset.
Yeah. And then just last question for me. The big word that I remember you mentioned on Sunday was, changing the culture. And I'm just kind of curious, how were you guys as a coaching staff able to establish that winning culture at Oregon State and Oklahoma State? What did you guys do to kind of manufacture that winning culture around those programs?
Well, I'm not so sure it's. I tell you the truth, I don't know that that's really the right word for that. I think the culture here is good. This is a great university, a very good baseball program. I think that the expectations of all of us need to get better. The standards, the expectations of what we do on a daily basis need to grow. This will be a winning program, and the goal every day is to get better every day. And we've talked to our kids a little bit about maybe kind of setting that reset button just a tad and reflect and learn from the mistakes that we've made, either whether it be pitching, defense, offense. It's some of it's still a little bit of construction of how what we'd like to see in this offense, and how we're a little thin position player wise with some kids that are injured. We've got a few kids playing a little bit out of position. We're going to teach a couple kids today, and without Patrick McGrath, to play first base, and just so that we can have another option if we need to move people late. So there's quite a few factors that go into that, but the culture here in baseball is good. It's how we get to winning. You start winning, and usually that brings a little bit more positive behavior and the things that we do.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the line for Coach Lees?
Yeah, good morning, Coach Lees. This is Lou Wright, the Coug fan.
Yeah, Lou.
I'd like to follow up on Tom's questions there and ask you if you could characterize the overall attitude of your guys at this point.
Well, the overall attitude is really tremendous, and maybe if you're looking from the outside in, you think of, well, they've lost some games, they've lost some tight games. How could it be great? Well, it's not great because there are competitors within our team, and I'm confident because of the work ethic that they have, the conversations that we've had. I can tell, from coaching for quite a few years now, that this team has not given up, and they won't. It's they're giving it everything they've got every day, and we know that we're going to get better.
And I know this time of the year is when you want to get as many guys out on the field to get a look at them. But in your mind, Coach, are you getting pretty close to settling on what you think will be a set lineup for your team?
Well, I feel good about where our outfield is at. That's where we have the most depth. It's when you look at where Dugan Shire's come on and done in center field, and he's been hitting in our 9-hole, hitting about 415, 417 in there, and Derek Chapman has been settling in that 2-hole. He's been doing very well. Trek Stimp, we've moved to second base to get him a little more time so we can allow one of those other outfielders to play. Between Chapman and Shire and Frost and Stimp, we've got speed in the lineup where we can do a lot of different things. And then you add Mason Cirillo, a little freshman who's done a tremendous job as well. Our depth is in the outfield. I would like to, I look at what we're doing in the infield. Now we're this weekend I would assume that if we had Patrick McGrath, it'd be limited. But I'm not planning on him being here this weekend. So our moves and what we can do are limited. But as far as what we're going to do, and as far as a set lineup, it's going to probably be ongoing until we get the correct, lineup that competes every day and shows up to play. But I think it's going in a good direction.
And just one last question,
yeah.
Coach. It seems that it's fair to characterize your defense as being a little inconsistent at this point. Is that a factor of just young guys, or what do you attribute that to?
I don't know that it's young. We've got one young guy in the infield with Justin Hare. The rest of them, have 60-plus Division I games underneath them. So, things that we talk about and stress is maybe pick up that concentration level a little bit. They're all very capable. Shane Matheny and Jack Struntz and And Stimp, it's a little new to him because he hasn't played much infield since high school, but he's done a really good job. Patrick's able to play both third and first. And so, we got to work harder. We got to get better. And once I really believe if we clean up an area here or there, that what we're going to do as far as wins and losses, it will obviously get better as well. But we need to throw strikes. The starters that threw this last weekend need to continue. They need to repeat what they did. And we need to get, I felt like our offense is starting to come alive as far as an offense and what we like to do and how we like to play. So that needs to continue to get better as well. But once we connect all the dots and can play, the games that we've played that we've pitched, played defense and had an efficient offense, we've won. And that goes, it doesn't matter where you're at, who you're playing. That's the nature of baseball.